Good evening, everyone. My name is DM Rawlings, the 10-Minute DM. I am an experienced Forged in the Dark GM, and I'm here to give you some advice 10 minutes at a time. So today, we're going to round out the last of our Consequence series, this time on higher stakes. So, to get started, what is higher stakes? Well, it's when you introduce something new to a situation to raise the stakes and escalate the scene. And I am literally talking about the mechanical stakes here. You're in a controlled situation with low stakes, and suddenly you're now in medium stakes because of the event of this consequence. Or you're in medium stakes and it goes to high, right? One or more characters is going to end up in a more dangerous position, and the next roll is going to have more dire consequences. So let's look at an example here. Aubrey is talking with Lennox, who is an informant who knows something about some kind of new occult street drug. Aubrey is rolling sway to try to get Lennox to open up. And if we assume a failure when the stakes were low, Lennox isn't having it. They told me someone might come asking about it. I'm no narc. Lennox stands up, and a couple of their friends take notice. Or what if you were in a medium stakes situation? Lennox looks outraged. No way I'm telling Candela nothing. Lennox draws a pistol and points it at your torso. So you see in both these cases, the stakes were low, and then they become medium, or the stakes were medium and they suddenly become high. But you can do this with successes as well, like a mixed success. Lennox's voice drops. Okay. They're dealing out of a warehouse in Hallow Harbor. Under Lennox's skin, a bleed-filled growth begins to pulse as their eyes roll back into their head. Situation has changed. It's more dangerous. Something is happening. What? Who knows? Or if maybe that was a medium stake situation to start with. There's a greenhouse at the university. That's where they make it. Lennox grasps their pendant, and it begins to emanate bleed. Too bad you'll never live to see it. Right? That's basically the deal here, but if you want more examples, I got you covered. So, you're having a fight, and part of the ground breaks away, revealing a steep drop. Right? The monster grips Aubrey by the neck with its prehensile tail and starts to squeeze. Very dangerous situation. The artifact begins crackling with purple, eldritch energy. It's unstable. You jump over a crevasse, but are now dangling on the edge by your fingers. The cultist swats away your candle. It lands on a sofa, and you smell smoke. The beast mutates before your eyes, growing a sharpened bone carapace. Far more dangerous. So that's what it is. But before we go on, I thought we would take a little bit of a break. Because this time, for the first time ever, the 10-Minute DM is brought to you by the Slugblaster Bundle for Teen Mental Health. Slugblaster is a rules-light, optimistic Forged-in-the-Dark game about teenage hoverboarders who sneak into other dimensions to explore, film tricks, go viral, and get away from their problems at home. It's dangerous, it's stupid, it's got parent groups in a panic, and it's the coolest thing ever. You can get the core Slugblaster rules in PDF and 13 other jam projects, including my 30-page Hacker's Guide to the Multiverse, for $15. All proceeds go to the charity Strong Minds. I'll add a link to the show notes, but seriously, at that price, why wouldn't you pick it up? Anyways, back to the main event here. Some observations about higher stakes. The first is, higher stakes can often seem really similar to complications as consequences. Sometimes adding something to a scene just ups the stake. The line between some of these consequences are legitimately pretty muddy, but that's honestly okay. We create these categories for consequences on a more academic level. We want to be able to talk about them and put them in little areas of our brains so that we can come up with them on the fly. But at the end of the day, our players are experiencing these outputs firsthand. The story doesn't really care about which category of consequence we choose. It only cares about how those consequences alter the moment. And my advice is, don't sweat the details here. Don't think about it too hard. Just know that all of these are ways that we can talk about it outside of the game, but when it comes to the game, no one really cares. Secondly, using higher stakes is one of the best pacing tools that you have in your toolkit. If the players are dragging their feet, if the moment feels like it's been going on for too long, if you feel like your session's running behind, you can raise the stakes in order to get players to refocus on the situation at hand and speed the session along. And the third thing I'll mention is you can also raise the stakes from high to life or death. You may not be aware because it's not in the core rules, but Darrington released a Common Questions and errata on their website. In it, they introduced life or death stakes. No matter your current marks or scars, if you fail a roll in a life or death stake roll, your character will die. Players should know that it's life or death before it, and they should also be able to change things up and spend resources with the knowledge that they could potentially die as a result of this. Obviously, this should be used really, really sparingly, but when the stakes are high, when a character rolls a failure rather than inflicting harm, we can raise the stakes in a high stakes roll to put them into a life or death situation. It's kind of like a setup roll. It's like saying, we're not going to do something bad to you right now, but if you have a problem with the next roll, you are in a seriously bad spot. A couple of examples. The monster grips you by the neck, ready to snap it like a twig. You're left dangling from the dirigible, the ground hundreds of feet below. Or the old Farron artifact surges with occult power, and a pulse of green lightning disintegrates your NPC assistant. It's unstable and ready to blow. Life or death situations. Lastly, using higher stakes. So we use higher stakes as a consequence when we want to ratchet up the intensity of the assignment, when we want to reflect that characters are now in a more precarious place than they were before, and to urge the characters to focus and get on with it and do the primary objective. Alright, this is the fifth and final consequence type from Blades in the Dark. I've got an entire playlist of videos, which I'm going to toss in the show notes if you want to just start from the beginning with my intro and work your way all the way down to the end. With these out of the way, I'm going to start looking at Candela Obscura's moves being other things that you can do when a player has a result that's somewhere between a 1 and a 5. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more cool Forged in the Dark videos. I've been DM Rawlings, your 10-minute DM, and I want you to enjoy the day and then enjoy the new year. See ya.